Good evening. Well, you're probably wondering a little bit about me, or why I had to send a letter. I did explain it, but you see, I was born in Marshfield, but very close to the beach. So, it's a very wealthy town. But my grandmother had a cousin. Was a woman, and their children used to come around on Christmas. Well, my grandmother married a man that came from Arcadia. And the history of Arcadia with the Pierce is the Pierce Genealogy and Museum up in Arcadia. Well, my grandfather was born on Staten Island, and my great-grandfather was Linwood Vance Pierce. He was the first mate. There's a museum, Pierce Genealogy. We are the second known families in that area. We go back 200 years. We go back Christopher Columbus. There's a war between the Pilgrims. The other Pilgrims came from England. And one of them is known by Rockefeller. Well, Rockefeller and my great-grandfather didn't get along. My great-grandfather died aboard ship. And my grandfather and his mother, last name Black, came down to Essex County in Salem, Mass. And my grandfather married a woman named Anna. And she had a cousin. Those people, their children were jealous. But they had 3 businesses in Salem. Roast beef and car wash, and their house was rented out to a lawyer's. So we have a history in Arcadia, Maine. My early part, the Pilgrims were able to buy property, to purchase property. I don't know how they did it back then, but my great-grandfather owned quite a bit of Arcadia. And Rockefeller's an English pilgrim. When my great-grandfather died, he said he owned it. You see, there's a problem when people that have a lot, there's somebody else that wants it. And when somebody else wants something, there's always a death and a loss. My grandfather went back up there, and before he had passed, but there was a camping place there, and they used to do camping, and they like going after deer. But anyway, Rockefeller didn't own anything. But what's happening in my life is pretty much the same. People want our family's history. And their cousins and their jars, and they used to weld, but they didn't have much of history. You know, their grandmother was, grandfather was a leather worker. You know, they're Irish from Ireland. Well, I was supposed to meet my father on a Monday morning. He died that Monday morning. It was something he wanted to send me. I got what he sent me. Well, my sister lived with my father for a while, and she left for a while to some friends. There was some papers that came to me from the manager of the building. It happened to be at a time when this woman from the cousin of my grandmother, she happened to be there. Very nosy. She wanted to know everything that was going on. But she waited till she knew everything was going on, till I had to go upstairs to go get that paper. She followed me, and she took the paper. Now, at the night that my father used to go to work at 4, and they got there before 4, and the cousin's family, the woman and the guy, and I don't know. But anyway, she took the paper, and the rest of my family passed away. I'm the only heir left. I don't have any grandchildren. There is no grandchildren. I didn't have any children. And if there were grandchildren, they were so far away, they didn't have nothing to do with it. Because it didn't look right. My father didn't get in touch with them. It was only my sister and I. And when they got hold of that paper, I lost everything. My sister and I couldn't have the rights to go into the funeral. But her name was still at the city hall with my father. But I got a letter to go to the hospital. But when I saw the name, that was the same name here in Concord. Someone that was a preacher. It didn't make sense, but I guess my sister was the witness to it. But I lost everything. And I got a fight. And went to court. I can't say statute of limitation, because when I went to the funeral, there was something I didn't like. And I protested the probate. And so now it's in Superior Court after 17 years, because I didn't get any paper or nothing, like I was dead. So now I was going to Superior Court, and I had to send for affidavit, and then when they sent the letter to back to court to request, this becomes missing. But it doesn't matter if it comes missing, because I got proof of the paper that I sent it, and in the return that I paid for it. So whatever happened, it was, I'm sure he got it. He probably was just so upset, threw it back at him. And, you know, when wealthy people get a hold of stuff and there's a death and they set it up to make it look natural and stuff like that, and they became more wealthy than they were before, there's no way he can win. Because they're going to pay off this person, pay off that person, pay off the police, pay off the post office, pay off, you know. They're not going to listen to the real children that lost their family and family assets. But I know who I am. Yeah, I'm never going to lose that. But God has a plan. And I'm going to leave most of it up to God. Because he wouldn't have had me get this far. Probably enough to got them very angry. See, Rockefeller, he became very wealthy. He was an English shipbuilder from his family. But when the last person died, they went after my great-grandfather's estate. It was a beautiful island. Most beautiful house you ever seen. It was a mansion. And was sold with Sotheby's. This person's a real estate agent. But you know, these people are miserable. They're not happy. They depend on doctors to fix their skin. It only makes them look worse. Me, I have so much of God. It just keeps me happy, feeling free and full of life. I've got my gift from God here on earth. They got hell. And now they gotta go through judgment day. Leave it up to God. That's the best lawyer you got. Have a good time and have a great day. And great evening. I'm going to do a dance later because I'm full of